class. We're going to continue our lecture. You can go to the share screen and we can open up the lecture for you people so we can discuss the next topic. We have already discussed the classes of bryophytes and alternation of generation also, and I uploaded the alternation of generation, the lecture of alternation of generation. Let's just have a brief reading of the alternation of generation and then we'll move ahead. The board lecture and everything has been uploaded regarding the alternation of generation. I hope people will have seen the video. Alternation in generations, the significance already discussed in the previous lecture. Today I'm going to give you an introduction of Trichophyta. Two multicellular generations, sporophyte and gametophyte, which alternate with each other, which come one after the other. The gametophyte is the dominant one. It is more conspicuous, stronger, larger in size. It produces gametes, which are antherozoids and ova. And fertilization takes place on the gametophyte, giving rise to the oospore. The sporophyte, also known as the sporogonium, it develops from the oospore. It consists of a foot, seta, and capsule. We are talking about alternation of generation in bryophytes. It contains the spore mother cells or the sporocytes, and these sporocytes, they divide by meiosis to form the haploid spores, and then they germinate to form the gametophytes. This is a general plan of the alternation of generation. Gametophyte multicellular haploid mitosis takes place. The gametes, the male and the female gametes, are going to be present, will be produced. If it is produced on the same plant, then that is going to be monoecious. And if they are produced on two different plants, then that is said to be a dioecious condition. All this has been discussed in the previous lecture. Fertilization takes place on top of the female archegonium, and the zygote is produced. And from the zygote germinates by mitosis on the archegonium and gives rise to the sporophyte multicellular diploid sporophyte. Meiosis takes place in the capsule of the sporophyte or in the sporangium of the sporophyte, and it gives rise to haploid spores. And these haploid spores then germinate into the gametophyte. This alternation of the sporophyte and gametophyte generation is known as alternation of generation. Now, what is the importance or significance of alternation of generation? During spore formation, meiosis results in the reshuffling of genes. That's during prophase 1. Meiosis, it results in the mixing of the genes, the recombination and the crossing over of the genes, and it gives rise to formation of recombinants or new types of genes. The spores with different genetic makeup are formed due to recombination, and they produce gametophyte, which have a genetic variation, a varied genetic combination as compared to the parental combinations, and they have better chances for survival. This is the main significance for alternation of generation, the main importance of alternation of generation. Now, the next topic that we are going to start is about those plants that have these structures. This is the xylem, this is the phloem. These structures are known as the vascular bundles. The xylem and the phloem together, they form the conducting tissue of the plant. Let me go to the board and write it down on the board for you. The conducting system of the plant. The conducting system means that it is going to transfer materials from one place to another. Okay, the conducting tissues of the plants are actually the xylem and the phloem. The xylem and the phloem. These two tissues together, they form a structure which is called the vascular bundles. And the plants that have these vascular bundles are said to be vascular plants. All the structures that are present in them are known as true structures. For example, they will have a true stem, they will have a true root, they will have true leaves. If the vascular bundles are not present, then that is said to be, then we will say that they have stem-like structures, root-like structures, or leaf-like structures. But because vascular bundles are present, so we say that they have a true stem, true roots and leaves. Why? Because of the presence of xylem and phloem. The function of xylem and phloem is presence of vascular bundles. When we come to the vascular bundles, the function of the xylem and the phloem is very different. The xylem helps to transport water from one part of the plant to another, and the phloem helps in the conduction of food from one part to another. Okay? In the transfer food. And these, they also give strength to the plant. They are very strong tissues and they give strength to the plant. They give the plant tensile strength. Tensile strength का मतलब होता है कि they are not going to break easily, even if they bounce or they bend or they turn because of wind. They do not break down very easily. Azan started, so I had to pause the lecture for a while. Okay, going to move forward. First of all, what we are going to do, we are going to study some of the primitive tracheophytes. Primitive का मतलब है बहुत पुराने, बहुत olden times वाले. ठीक है? So we are going to study about the primitive tracheophytes. I hope you people enjoy the lecture. Okay, right now. The next topic is tracheophytes. Tracheophytes are vascular plants which contain the vascular tissue, xylem, and phloem. Let me increase the size of the screen. These the vascular plants that contain vascular tissue, xylem, and phloem called tracheophytes because of the presence of the xylem cells, which are called trachees. Now, inside the xylem, we have special types of cells which are said to be trachees, and these trachees, what do? They are oblong cells, and they serve to increase the strength of the xylem and give it a very strong shape. These trachees are the major cells of the xylem, and we can see that they are somewhat of this type of shape. The fibers are elongated and thin cells which are present inside the xylem and the phloem, both of them. This is a general structure of the xylem and phloem. They are called tracheophytes because of the presence of the xylem cells trachees. Why are they called trachees? They are called trachees because they are tracheophytes because they contain the trachees. Okay. Okay. Next, what are we going to do now? We have another introduction with tracheophytes. Why tracheophytes are a very successful group of lead plants. They are very, you can be asked the question, why are tracheophytes a successful group of land plants? Why are they so happily inhabiting land? What are the features that is making it very easy for them to stay on land? They are successful because number one, they have roots, stems, and leaves. True roots, true stems, and true leaves. Next, they have vascular tissues, a highly developed vascular tissues. They have a vascular tissue, and these vascular tissues are actually the एक minute बेटा successful group of land plants due to the following features: roots, stems, and leaves. Vascular tissues are present, which are the xylem and the phloem. The vascular tissues are present, which are the xylem and the phloem. They are protected. The sporangia are protected. When we have studied the sporangia in bryophytes, we have seen that the sporangia in bryophytes, they are exposed, they do not have any kind of protection. But as we move on in tracheophytes, the sporangia are kind of protected. They are protected either in leaves or they are protected in different types of structures. As we move on, we will see that the protection of the spore producing cells, they are becoming more specialized to preserve the spores that will be produced inside the sporangia, and the sporangia are going to be of different types. ठीक है, protecting sporangia leading to the evolution of the seed. Then the pollen tube, development of pollen tube for the transmission of the male gametes, and then flowers and fruits की development. Then heteromorphic alternation or generation. Heteromorphic alternation or generation का मतलब है कि hetero different morphic morphological appearance, external appearance. The gametophyte and the sporophyte have different shapes. Now, let me just give you the names of the structures of the gametophytes. ठीक है, the structures in the tracheophytes. Classification of tracheophytes में हमारे पास we have 4 main subdivisions in tracheophytes. Cylopsida, known as Cylophyta. Then we have the next one, which is known as, let us move ahead first of all, then we will come back and discuss Cylopsida. The next one is a Sphenopsida. Let us move on and let us see where we have Sphenopsida. Dichotomous is the second one, which is a little bit more developed as compared to Cylopsida. Then the other one that we have after Dichotomous is Sphenopsida. We will be discussing these groups, Sphenopsida. After Sphenopsida, the next group that we have is the Trichophyta. And as you move on, हमें नजर आएगा कि इनके अंदर development जो है, it is becoming better. Okay. Now let us move back to Cylopsida and let us see what we have in Cylopsida. Then the next topic we will be studying about the evolution of the Cylopsida, Cylophyta. Most primitive vascular plants lived about 400 million years ago. Most extinct. We have only one living member of Cylopsida, and that is Cylotum. And two living genera, Cylotum and Mesipterus. Right. Most extinct, Rhinia, Horneophyton, Cylophyton, Cooksonia. These are common examples and extinct examples. And we have only 2 genera, that is Cylotum and Mesipterus. This is the main feature by which we can recognize them. This is known as the dichotomous branching. Each branch divides into 2 and then moves ahead, and then it divides into 2 and moves ahead of again. These are the spore producing areas. These are the sporangia, which are present in the axils or which are present along with the branches, right? So we do not see any leaves here. The vascular bundles have started to develop, but they are present only in the stem region of Cylopsida. The general structure of the Cylopsida is that the plant is rootless. Rootless means the roots do not have vascular bundles. Instead of roots, we have root-like structures which are called rhizoids. And leafless. Leafless means there is no external leaf production. Sporophyte. This is the sporophyte structure. The stem is distinguished into an underground rhizome. Now, this is a true stem. It contains the vascular bundle and upright aerial part, which is green in color, and both of them are dichotomously branched. Divided into 2. The aerial branches are green, means they are going to photosynthesize. Leafless do not bear any kind of leaves, but they have some small wingless outputs. Sporangia develop either at the tips, as in Rhinia, either at the tips or on the sides, as in Cylotum, which is the living genera of the living genus of Cylopsida. Now, this is the cross section of the stem of Cylopsida, and this is a central block in which we have the vascular bundle present. Internal structure is very simple: a very wide cortex and a central narrow solid vascular tissue, Cylotum. And this is the shape of the gametophyte of Cylotum, which is present in a symbiotic relationship with some kind of gametophyte. Is not known for extinct species because it was very, very delicate. However, living genera, that is Mesipterus and Cylotum, they have thyloid. Thyloid body form means they do not have any type of leaf-like structures or any type of properly developed structures. It is thyloid, it is colorless, it is underground, okay? And it is inhabited by a mycorrhizal fungus. This is a symbiotic association. The fungus gets a home and the gametophyte gets food from the fungus, and this is totally independent. The gametophyte is totally independent. Now, The next topic that we will be completing is the evolution of leaf. We are going to keep the lecture up to here today, and we're going to see what we have in evolution of leaf. We will discuss evolution of leaf before we go to the other classes of Trichophyta or other subdivisions of Trichophyta. So that is all for the day.